Stranger Things is one of the most popular TV shows today. And its success is due in no small part to its distinct visual style. The look of Stranger Things encapsulates both nostalgia and sci-fi horror into something all its own. How has the crew behind the series created such a unique visual palette? This is Stranger Things Cinematography.
Oh my God.
Subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to stay up to date on all our filmmaking videos.
What is all this?
The creators behind Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers, had a clear vision of how they wanted their series to look at the outset.
Our thing is, could we go back to this style of summer blockbusters, but do it in this new format?
But I mean, you have to think about, you know, a lot of our favorite blockbusters. It's like Jaws and Indiana Jones and Gremlins and Back to the Future.
What's happening?
I have no idea.
You tell me you built a time machine?
Let's look at how the brothers and their cinematographer Tim Ives achieved this throwback look, beginning with one of the cinematography basics.
Let there be light.
One element in Stranger Things that harkens back to the 80s is its lighting.
Okay, good.
The crew specifically took notes from the cinematographers like Alan Daviau.
We looked at films like E.T. and I looked at Avalon. I mean, a lot of it in Davio's work. And I always liked his softness and his realism, but it also had a little bit of a heightenedness to it.
The subtle stylization can be seen in many of the interiors throughout Stranger Things. Ives will often pair warm orange lights with blue lights coming in through windows to provide contrast. But the colors remain muted so as not to become too heightened. Ives would also use booklights, which is a method in which the light source is bounced off a reflective material and then diffused before it hits the subject. This creates an extremely soft light without taking up as much space as standard diffusion. He would then add crates to keep the light from spilling into the walls behind the subject, making the actors pop from their background. For exteriors, Ives took a reverse approach, pulling from the work of photographer William Eggleston.
Something that I sort of fell in love with would be front lighting, which can be very flat. But I looked at William Eggleston's photographs, and he has a lot of that kind of stuff with minimal depth of field, and it had a feeling of nostalgia to those photographs that I thought would translate well.
Front lighting means the light source is directly behind the camera, and it's a method which most cinematographers try to avoid. But Ives' use of the lighting style results in exteriors that look reminiscent of old photographs. Of course, the series also operates as a horror, and to heighten the scares, Ives darkened the lights, leaving, as Ives put it, the details in the shadows. Todd Campbell, another cinematographer on the series, doubled down on this approach.
I don't use fill light, which I hate anyway. Having deep, dark shadows, they're creepy. I tried to just use single sources of light and play the silhouette as much as possible.
By using single sources of light, Campbell would create a naturally low-key image with high contrast and harsh shadows, which provide a stark difference from the flat lighting situations that the non-horror scenes have. And Stranger Things' approach to lighting pairs nicely with the next technique.
Hi!
Hi!
A crucial component of Stranger Things' visual style is its coloring. Incorporated not just in its cinematography, but also in its production design and wardrobe. Perhaps more than any other element of the show, color indicates the precise time and place of the setting. The use of color evolved from season to season.
The first season, I think, our tone was not the most optimistic, and so we didn't bring a lot of color into the first season. In the second season, we started bringing in a little bit more color and saturation. And the third season takes place in summer vacation, and we're fully in the 80s now, so again, you have neons and wardrobe.
The third season of Stranger Things saw the biggest visual shift in the series. The Duffer Brothers told their team they wanted to shift from their original Spielberg influences and towards slightly more stylized auteurs like John Carpenter and Robert Zemeckis.
Hey, I said, what do you want?
This shift in visual tone can be seen most prominently in the Starcourt Mall, a massive set filled with vibrant primary colors. Here, the influences on the visuals indicated the lead characters weren't kids anymore.
So, what should we do first?
As Ives notes, with this new storyline with the kids growing up, we introduced a lot more neon to go with it.
Here we go!
Instead of pulling from children-oriented films like E.T., the Duffers and Ives were emulating 80s teen classics.
This year, we referenced Fast Times at Ridgemont High for some of the mall stuff.
The colors of the mall pay off in the finale of the season in an extravagant display of neon lights, a massive undertaking to rig.
Wiring it, getting it to possibly flicker for the finale, that was about a 1.5 month long lighting project. And that set up before we even started shooting, and then I had a crew in there and they pretty much knew what we wanted and did it all.
Moving on. You'll notice that none of the influences the Duffers mention are television shows. From the cameras and lenses to the film grain and aspect ratio, the brothers made decisions that would make their series look as cinematic as possible. The Stranger Things team tested multiple different cameras to try to get the most filmic feel. The team landed on the Red Dragon. The red reminded me of the Kodak 5293-200 ASA we all used to love. Velvety and smooth, said Ives. Lenses, too, were selected based on what looked the most cinematic. Ives mainly used Leica primes, which he felt were similar to lenses from the 70s and 80s. They produce a flatter and softer image, compared to other modern lenses, which produce more contrast. Filmic softness was the priority, which he furthered by shooting with a wide-open f-stop. According to Ives, he tried to never have the f-stop over 2.8, so that the background would almost always be out of focus. The shallow depth of field was paired with wide lenses, again, to evoke a cinematic feel.
Films like E.T. and Jaws, they had those big foreground close-ups on the wider lenses. We really responded to Spielberg's earlier work as far as those lenses go.
In post-production, a slight grain was added to mimic the look and feel of shooting on celluloid film. They interjected an actual 5298 film stock on top of the image being recorded. They also chose a 2:1 aspect ratio, creating a letterbox feel not found on most TV shows. Check out our previous video on 2:1 for more in-depth analysis on the format. Stranger Things' 80s movie look is a testament to having clear visual references. From the get-go, the Duffers knew the films they wanted to pull from to create a TV show with visuals that feel nostalgic, with a modern twinge of horror. And having a clear vision means having a clear plan. And having a clear plan means having a storyboard. Make sure to check out Studio Binder's storyboard software to help you make your own sci-fi classic. What are some of your favorite visual sequences from Stranger Things? Let us know in the comments. Good luck with your next project, and remember, it could be the next big series. Stranger things have happened.
When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange.